Well, afternoon and welcome once again on this lovely Saturday to GreenDragonCVR in Woodbridge, Ontario for another episode of Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with my buddy Alex to talk to you fuckers about video games once again.
Fuck.
And what a game we're here to talk about today.
Wow, taken by a crazy surprise,
Yeah,
I'd
taken
say.
utterly aback at the quality of this one. I was not looking forward to it at all. Did we even talk about it?
I didn't even know this game existed.
Did the name even cross our lips?
Tales of Arise, I found out about this game, I think, a couple of days before it came out because I kept bringing up Deathloop and I was talking to you about Deathloop, and every time you were like, yeah, and Tales of Arise, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, what? I knew nothing about it, honestly. It wasn't on my radar. I didn't, I mean, I know of the Tales series. We both do, of course.
Yeah.
You know, but I've never really played any of them. Yeah. At all, actually. So.
I feel you.
It wasn't, I wasn't really just, I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah, man.
And here we are. Tales of Arise came out on, when did it come out?
Came out just the 10th, I believe.
Yeah.
A few days before Deathloop. I think it was last Friday.
Yeah.
Didn't actually get around to playing it until more recently, and yeah, just as you were saying, man, I was taken aback by this game. I don't know. I guess had some awareness that it was coming out, but never really delved deep into a Tales game much before. And my impression from watching my wife play, from talking to other people, was that it was kind of, you know, a middling offering after
sort of like
the more, you know, fucking famous series like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and even the other Squaresoft games, or you know, the bigger Nintendo games like fucking Fire Emblem, like Xenoblade. You know, I never got around to playing Tales, and the bits that I did know about the other ones, I always had the impression that it was somehow like, you know, even more melodramatic and fucking. You know,
I wouldn't say bad, but just like a little bit more subpar, right?
Yeah. There was reuse of assets in Berseria.
Yeah.
My wife complained about a lot. I don't know. For all of these reasons, I just had some clouded impressions about this game, before it came out. And I jumped into it on a whim. I wanted to play a JRPG. I was thinking this or Deathloop. Like, what do each have to offer me? And like, Deathloop has some arcane fun. I like arcane games, but this has a world that it built, you know, a fucking epic fantasy story. Just went into this, and buddy, I was blown the fuck away immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Astounding how much, you know, from the bit of Berseria that I played, this game feels like a different kind of thing entirely. It looks amazing. It looks like fucking Dragon Quest XI did, except better. I'm very comfortable saying that. Way better. The art style too is better.
Absolutely. You know? Plus, look at all the, like, you know, the real-time combat and how it flows and how it just looks incredible, right?
That's right. Yeah, you know what? Why don't we break down our fucking talk about this game then into a couple of different parts?
Go wild.
Yeah, into the fucking idea and into the touchable parts, you know, the fucking matter, the tangible bits. Like, maybe we can talk about that first, actually, the touchy parts. Fuck, it feels good to play. Fuck, it's a beautiful game. And it is also intertextually, like, literate. It knows its genre peers, it's appropriating conventions, progression elements, even art style from a lot of them.
Very competent JRPG.
And I think in many ways it does all of these things better than its peers, you know? I think I mentioned before the art. It looks a lot like Dragon Quest XI, but and the famed artist behind Dragon Quest XI, who also worked on Dragon Ball Z, like, the art style tends towards the irreverent, you know? Things have big cartoony eyes. There's like goofy, like, fucking kind of sexual jokes sometimes. There's like just an aura of silliness about it. Lots of puns. Like, it's just kind of, you know, doesn't take itself quite as seriously as other fantasy games. And this, I think, you know, it apes that style. Like, in many ways, it even fucking appropriates the puns and, like, you know, the certain tension between the male and female characters in the scenes, but it never reaches those, like, fucking totally irreverent fucking levels where it kind of disrupts the inner logic of the work slightly to me.
Yeah,
you know
that's
the
thing. It totally fits the setting of what's happening in the context.
It's human. It's not. It's not
game.
intrusively, you know, sarcastic, right? Like, I think that in a lot of ways, just like the flavor of this game, and especially the anime art style, I prefer it to games like Dragon Quest XI, or even, in fact, Fire Emblem Three Houses by a long shot.
I agree, and I loved both those games. We both, you know, loved
and the art as well. Like, I like the character designs in those games and the tone, especially Three Houses, you know, with its like Baroque like costumes and architecture. But this game, like, I feel like when I'm looking at it, you know, anime or Japanese like animation, sometimes the faces and like fucking flat planes, you know, feel to me like there's no detail on them, right? Like, it doesn't feel like there's just the art style doesn't allow for you to texture like flat spots on faces or walls or what have you as well as you could in perhaps other animated fucking forms. Like if you were doing something like photorealistic, you could do like, brick and fucking shit like that down to the pixel, right? Like here,
everything's more clean and
I have the impression when I look at anime, like flat surfaces especially tend to feel like underdeveloped just in that style. But like one thing I really like about this game, and that's definitely the case in Dragon Quest, because a lot of, especially the faces are big and exaggerated, like Veronica. Veronica's face?
Oh yeah.
It's like it's a dinner plate with big eyes. Like you could draw it with a ruler, you know what I mean? It's just simplistic. And the fucking details, just like a couple of lines on the face and stuff.
True, very simple style,
Here it's
very detailed.
Yeah, you get that sense that it's the same like fucking cel-shaded, like anime-inspired art style, but it has depth to the features. Like I'm thinking of Zephyr's, his name is Zephyr, right?
Zephyr, yeah.
I'm thinking of his face, and like his cheekbones and stuff like that. I can see it clearly in my mind's eye. Or even we're looking here at your main character, Alphen there. And his face is that classical, like, fucking anime, like, almost effete male character face, clean-shaven and shit like that. But even his face, like, he has chin texture. He has cheekbones. He has this mask going on. Like, all of the designs feel to me like multi-layered, Like, even look at him right now. Look at his, like, clothes, right? Like, they're parts on top of parts. There's some moving stuff. Both of his swords, like...
Yeah, I have to agree there. Everything looks like, it's just super high quality.
This
like
sensation of
detailed,
multi-layeredness. Like even look at the background. Everywhere you look, there's 4 or 5 layers of detail, right? Like the foreground, fucking the far background, and then all this stuff in between, man.
I kind of wish I played a little bit more on the PS4. Not that it matters, just to compare. Because I mean,
I would like to know too.
I want to see if some of this is due to the PS5 version, or if they just created a immensely fucking detailed, captivating world. I mean, it is sick. So
I mean, the art would have to have been made whether you could see it in the other one or not. It's really cool. Like
very true. That's true. To credit
it's not
them,
even just the graphics, right? Like see how they have like those. There's a sense of layering to all of the stuff. Like even the basic anime faces, which you can usually do just with like like with a ruler,
Right. Yeah.
And oftentimes you encounter texture, especially when it's animated in 3D like this, just like with lines, literal like crisscrosses on the face, like Veronica in Dragon Quest 11, right? Her cheeks were textured, like with a crisscross, literally like a line, right? Like these ones have this real like sculpted sense. Everything moves and it's beautiful, bro, and alive. It's honestly astounding, and you go between locations that like I've only been to 2 of them so far, and even within those 2 locations, remember that first zone? What the hell is it called?
Fire in a Calaglia.
Calaglia, you're at Calaglia there, and like the outdoor areas are all rock and they're barren and sandy and shit, burning stuff everywhere. But then you go inside that palace, and you're like, holy shit, totally different vibe, right? It's like crazy. And then the second palace you go to here or whatever, the fortress of the lord here in the second area, Custodia or something like that. Not Custodia, that's from Blasphemous.
I just beat him, but I forgot his name already.
Some Asian guy's fucking take on a Latin name. Like usual, another JRPG convention, But it's a different kind of, it's not like they even use the tiles in a different tone. Like it's a totally different style.
It's different,
different architectural style. I'm really enjoying the way like the world is just fucking set up and layered. Like in both places, there's like main features in all of the zones that you can see from each of the maps off in the distance. It's awesome. It's a really well built world, like from the front of it.
Absolutely.
From the art style and the way it's like I guess technically put together is astounding. It's well crafted, but. If you have nothing to add to that fucking part, maybe we could talk a bit about the gameplay because I also think that's
it's pretty. It's astounding how much they've put into it to me that like it feels very much like Final Fantasy VII remake in a sense where you have you have your standard attack and then you have like your abilities, right? But for all the praise for 7 remake that we give, right? To use your abilities more often than not, you pause and then select it, right? And I like it, but it does kind of break up the combat when you compare it to something like this, right? The combat flows so nicely, like just fucking, you always have the use of your abilities because those dots that, your ability points regenerate super quickly, it feels good. It feels really good to me. It feels amazing.
Yeah, I like that too. Like how would you say it? Well, like we could just lay out quick how it works. Like it's like an action game. You have activated abilities, but to use them, you use these little. Like underneath your name, there's like these little circles that charge up, and each ability expends 1 or 2 of them, right?
Right.
You can do combos. Those combos though, after 4 hits, you can't go anymore. You got to incorporate one of these abilities, or you have to jump to start a new combo, right? So the game wants you to fucking essentially start by either using one of these arts, they're called the activated abilities, going with your 4-hit combo, using another art, or rolling to reset your combo. Like you're
Yeah.
supposed to see it counts your fucking hits there, right? And the
Yeah.
idea is to have them go up and up and up. You get bonuses, whatever. So you keep that going because again, your normal combo is only 4 hits by either jumping and resetting your combo, rolling and resetting it, or doing some
attacking,
combination
right?
of these with your arts, right?
Yeah.
That's
Using
right.
your standard attack.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I think if the combo is pretty, I'm pretty sure is the condition for charging those cooperative like mega abilities with your team, right? Where it says strike like this. Or is it the life of the enemy? I'm not really sure what it is, but that's pretty much the culmination of the combat, right? You chain all your shit together, and eventually you can do these mega abilities where you charge up your fucking sword with the lady there, or the sorceress after, and kind of kill everybody all at once, right? And it's great, man. I like the sense that, like you were saying, it's like Final Fantasy VII because you have activated abilities that you charge with your normal combat or just by letting time pass, you know? Almost like an ATB gauge, but you don't use them in a menu, right? You can only equip 3, and it's exactly like an action game, you know? You fire them off. Most of the time, they're like combos that you start up if you're using Alph in here with his sword, right?
Yeah, basically it runs through them a lot quicker, so you use them way more frequently. You incorporate them basically in every combo. Yeah,
You're not really
like
comboing in Final Fantasy. It's more like you're activating the attacks, right? Even your basic attack, you know? It's more like the sensation to me is more like closer to MMO or to, you know, or symbolic or uncircumscriptive, where here you're tending towards like action game proper, right?
Yeah.
And very little in the way of like menu interface or anything like that. You can pause to use items and shit like that in the middle of combat, though.
Yeah. That part I like.
I do like it too.
I'm just a fan of that. But
there's even other elements too, complexities, because you know you see on the left of the screen here we have like the representations of the characters, their portraits, and they have an ability that charges up, and these do some decent damage, yes, but they're also each for countering something or they're situational. Like Shion there, when the guy's in the air, you can use her. She fires a gun at him, it blows him out of the air, it does some extra damage. What's his name? Law will punch the shields. Yeah. The mage will counter casters in the middle of their cast. I think.
So not only do they have strong attacks, but it also has a purpose, right?
Yeah. So you're supposed to just be. It's like Xenoblade in that sense. I think. Like I was saying to Louis when he was here yesterday. Actually, it's like Xenoblade in the sense that, you know, you're stacking systems on top of systems, right? You're supposed to consider how your party interacts, and like the progress of the combat is such that you want to be building towards some ultimate goal to, you know, nuke them, right? Like this big ability at the end. But unlike fucking Xenoblade, where it feels like you're doing the building, like you're doing some grammatical work to the end of a sentence practically, right? You're like, all right, I need to do this attack and this attack and this attack to put an orb on him, then put 3 more orbs, then use this group ability to shatter all the orbs, right? Here, you're reacting, you know? The complexities are involved in, like, countering stuff instead of necessarily stacking
using
it
your
yourself.
Tools, as you need them,
It's reactive more,
That's
it feels
cool,
like to me. Yeah. Whereas, like, the stuff that, you know, like using your combos, it's not hugely systemic. It's, you know, you're trying to work towards a number that can be blasted
in
easily,
Xenoblade,
right? Like,
how you would be like you're sort of you're like setting up.
You see what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like you're building a house of cards up to knock it down. Where here, like, you're reacting to the enemies and just going at your own combos, right?
Yeah, the combat feels great.
And it's nice because you can't, I think there's actually automatic combat. I don't know what that involves.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy things where you can set different tactics and modify, like, there's an insane, have you looked?
Oh, there is,
There's all different parameters. You can do all kinds of crazy
there's
shit.
There's even like a combat mode where I don't think you even have to touch the characters.
Yeah, you can put stuff on auto.
It feels like the way it's supposed to be played, like it wants you to pick one of the characters to inhabit at any given time, right?
Yeah.
And it's really about what style of play you like more, I think, right? You can play the ranged characters, the
That's
caster
another
ones,
thing. Any character is viable because the other ones are just controlled by AI, right? So you can.
I think in Final Fantasy VII Remake, though, you know, you get the sense that you can switch between Tifa and Cloud and Aerith, and they do obviously, like, where you cast from is different, like what you're trying to do is slightly different, but by and large, the sensation isn't, like, it doesn't have a different punch to it that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, I mean, you know, Tifa attacks a lot faster and Cloud a lot slower, and but the rhythm to it is more like represented, right? You're watching them perform those things and moving them around kind of like passively, whereas here it feels like they have like more, it's like using different characters in a fighting game practically, you know?
Yeah, they just,
their combos are different, like the kinds of things they do are different entirely, right? It feels like playing Shion versus playing Alphen feels like a different game.
Yeah, so far, I mean, there's 4 characters. I've played with, I think, 3 of them, and they're wildly different play styles.
That's right.
I'm surprised they've managed to capture in real-time combat, right? Whereas, like, even Final Fantasy 15 didn't nail something like that because, like, the magic felt kind of shitty, you know? Whereas this throws all of them in the same gameplay in it, and it works. Obviously, they're totally different to actually play it, right? It's wild.
See what I mean in this footage here about the faces?
Yeah,
they're so like multi-layered. Like even this guy's face, it's the most simple one, but look at the sides of his mouth, beside his nose there, under his eyes. It has that like triangular, like cheekbone little. It's like an actual art style, bro. It's weird, It definitely. And look at his glove, way better than a lot of the stuff that I've.
It's an incredible looking fucking game.
Maybe not actually the designs of the characters. Like Xenoblade had a great bunch of character designs, like. Although in some cases that too, but the way that they just bring it to life to me is so like ahead of so many games in this style, in this genre right now. And the combat, man, like we were just saying, there's so many different options. There's lots of different ways to inhabit the game, and it all feels like circumscriptive action game stuff to me. You're not really directing the characters from a distance here. You're actually like enacting their behaviors on the ground. It doesn't feel like represented so much as it does enacted like a fighting game, like Devil May Cry maybe, It's great. There's even active you have to do perfect dodges, which allow you to counter stuff, and there's a whole like bunch of abilities all centered around perfect dodges.
That's right. I forgot about that. Dodge, perfect dodge.
All around a great game. I really enjoy the combat.
It really is something special that took us by surprise.
Yeah. And outside the combat, the way that they handle progression is fucking radically simplified compared to lots of Western RPGs especially, but I'd say the closest, it reminds you of like Final Fantasy 13 maybe.
Yeah.
Like
Dragon Quest 2, just the maps that you kind of sort of peruse through. There's fast travel.
Yeah. Dragon Quest had some more complexity even, like the crafting required specialized elements that you didn't just find on hand. Like, look at his face, bro. It's so amazing. Yeah. I feel here like, the crafting is really one-dimensional, I mean that in the best possible way, right?
Yeah.
You find something in the area to procure like an immediate damage upgrade, and it just gives you something to work towards before you go to the boss or whatever. I love that kind of thing, Just mild incentive to explore an area, right? Like,
yeah, it's true. I've been doing just that. I want to clear an area before because I know I'll get an upgrade before, the next time you have a tough fight or a boss or something.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's, out of the reach of fucking pain in the ass or anything like that. The fast travel's nice. You can zip between places. Except for sometimes when it wants to progress the story, it disables fast travel, which is weird. It wants you to walk
somewhere directly, though. That's why, right?
But whatever.
An event happens in a place between you and somewhere else. It can't have you jumping off the map, I guess.
Yeah.
Only in the middle of certain story quests.
Okay with that. Another weird thing, though, is also when you're running around on the map, there's only one character. It's just funny because
that sucks a bit,
it's like, I don't even know if it's a complaint. It's just strange to see, like, with everything else like oozing super high quality, like look at it, looks fucking amazing, right? But anyway, I just thought it was odd, right? That's all.
For sure.
But
it's probably because there's like jumping and shit like that, pathing like AI characters.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't want to bother. And you know what? If that's like a concession they make so that everything else can be like this, I'm fine with it. Like that's.
Yeah, I guess it's a representational choice. They probably I remember playing. Was it Xenoblade 2? I don't know, another game like this where there's jumping on the overmap and. Oftentimes the AI characters, they just don't follow you very well, right? Like,
they just disappear and like zone back in or something. It's like, whatever. It's not important.
Yeah, but all that aside, plays well, fucking incredible game, especially in comparison to its peers. Does action combat better than any of the other RPGs that try it. Fucking does anime art style better than most of the games that do it too. It
really just nails everything. I feel like... I don't even know what I would complain about this game. It's good.
Yeah, and another thing I was apprehensive about is that, this coming from the same fellas who made Scarlet Nexus, a game I did enjoy, of course, but that I found prone to melodrama and like fixation on human elements, like too much,
Yeah, and I really liked that game, but me too. I didn't love it. Like this one just grabbed me more, right? It feels like the complete package.
I feel already like at this stage, like it's just not so much into that, right? It's more, like conceptually now, I guess we're moving on to the idea of the fucking thing, and the thing that Tales here expresses with all of the mechanics we just detailed is a pretty fucking cool world and story, I guess, man. Like, better than I expected in so many ways. There is human elements, of course. You engage with these people, but they're all fucking mysterious. They don't have histories and fucking personal traumas that your knowledge of, your knowledge of these things depends upon, right?
Yeah, I like the vitriol early on with them,
Yeah, they're bickering. They're probably going to fall in love.
Yeah, probably, right?
I think it's just a simple human story, bro. I like that a lot. It's not got weird pretensions, you know?
Yeah.
Same with the Dragon Quest 11 did. Just a simple human story. Simple, relatable human characters. They're good people. Even when they're assholes, they're not, you know, this is not some like fucking grimdark, like morally ambiguous fucking nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
I like that. Again, it's
Oh,
just
me too. Absolutely.
simple, straightforward,
It's such a
morally
joy to
upright
jump in.
story, yeah. But also, like, what the fuck's going on in this world? Like, I'm not really prepared to make definitive statements about it yet, but is this like we were saying the other day, like, you know, what's going on in this world here? There's a bunch of guys, like one kind of people.
How many lords are there?
There's 5.
5 lords?
Well, what's going on? Yeah, there's 2 planets or 2 kinds of
there's
people
2
here.
planets.
The Renans and the
Renan.
fucking, what are the other
And
ones?
the Danans?
The Danans, all right.
Danans.
And the fucking Renans there, they have, because they have fucking magical abilities.
Yeah.
They enslave the Danans. And they make them work. Not
yeah.
because they just want the shit they make, but because them literally
They don't
working
even
to die.
Yeah, they don't want them to make
Yeah.
anything. Like in one of the cutscenes, it shows them literally sucking like the
Yeah.
fucking literal life.
They want to
that's
suck
like
their
the
life
energy,
out of them, their
right?
labor.
As
you know,
they're working, like
their
it's like-
essence. They just want to absorb it.
yeah, it's like coming off of them, right?
That's
So
the
it's
whole
like,
fucking premise. They just want to turn them into human batteries. Like,
yeah, basically.
Yeah. And so Alex and I were like, man, is this just fucking some super ham-fisted like metaphor for capitalism? Because
Yeah,
it probably is.
there's like 5 distinct zones, and there's 5 lords who are like the bosses of each
Yeah.
specific
and
area.
they're all like trying to collect the fucking essences of their workers so that they
Yeah.
can become the king, the most
hoarding
richest boss of the
astral
world.
wealth.
Yeah, hoarding
Right,
astral wealth.
Right.
Perhaps we can interpret this as alienating people from their labor. But, you know, in a deeper sense, though, like fucking capitalism is just a metaphor for fucking a truer kind of fucking, you know, exploitation, which is fucking man from his own fucking intellect, right? Like,
Yeah.
like my buddy Marty 10 there says, the rebellion of the fucking genus against the species, like animal against fucking man, right? Like, we can take it as a ham-fisted narrative for capitalism, saying, yeah, maybe, but like in the same way that fucking some metaphor of light and dark is about good and evil. But what is that really about at the end of the day? Well, man, everything in the fucking universe is composed of fucking contrary forces like act and potency, you know? It's tending both fucking to retain its identity and beyond itself. Like, people try to fucking misappropriate this process, and that's the basis of all fucking bad things that happen in the universe. Like, we can say it's about capitalism, but capitalism is fucking, if it means anything at all beyond its own self, is it just about something more fundamental anyways, right? So, simple metaphors, buddy. They're fucking good. They're not trying to be fucking some crazy like diatribe about the way society
it
should
doesn't,
operate, right?
You know,
Like,
feel like it's trying to be super deep or, you know.
it deals with politics. It's very political, of course.
Yeah.
But it's not fucking dealing with your fucking politics 2021. It's dealing with
Yeah.
concepts of political fucking science or philosophy, right? Like, it's dealing with the way that man interacts with man in the broad strokes, in a fucking problem, a fantasy problem ecology, like Tolkien
Yeah.
would say there, right? Like a sub-created world. You know? Politics perhaps in the archetypal sense, just in that something true there. Just like, you know, Tolkien says the world of elves and men is the same. Like, why is that the case? Because certain kinds of relationships in anything that you describe fucking will be true in any kind of society, right? Like, in that sense it's political, not because it's making a statement about fucking 2021 election or some shit like that. You know what I
not
mean?
some very specific.
No, like in the broad
Real
strokes of
world
like
shit.
human relations being necessarily political, not about your. I think that's a distinction that could help fucking illuminate a lot of, you know.
That does sound.
People don't really make that distinction. People are like, everything's political. Well, I guess in this fucking crude sense, but you're equivocating, right? You're fucking conflating two different things, excuse me, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that all people are related to each other when they socialize versus like you trying to endorse this guy in some fucking actual system of politics, right? Yeah. Yeah, I like it in that sense, man. Yeah, I like it in the same way I've said I like Destiny before, I suppose. Like, it's this simple thing about light versus dark, yeah, but like, man, so, you know, it's about being and its tendency to fall away from itself, right? Like, why can't we just fucking deal with simple things?
Yeah, no, I agree. Even in some of the sense of like a gameplay, like I was saying, the CP mechanic, like very streamlined to, you know, it doesn't need to be so super complicated, right? I know that's kind of unrelated, but in the sense that
I think it's important, though, that
It's
point, man.
just
It's an
very-
important point. Why does it not
feels
need to
good
be
to-
complicated?
yeah.
Because it just is good at what it does. It doesn't
Right.
need bells and whistles to justify itself,
you
right?
know, in
We always say, do one thing well, bro.
right, fair, yeah, true.
Why do you gotta fucking do all this wankery? They just pick a few things, they do it fine.
Yeah.
You know, they get the point across with those tools, right? They don't get. It seems like they know, like we're making a game, yes, but we're trying to convey something to you with like language, right? You're trying to tell somebody an idea, you know?
Yeah.
You're trying to convey the world. They just pass it through the gameplay. They're not sitting there fixated on fucking embellishing the gameplay with all kinds of stupid shit, you know? Out the ass, like you're fucking walking by, I gotta collect pigeons or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's not even, I mean, it's
the
there.
gameplay doesn't get in the way, in other words.
Exactly,
it's just, it lets you through. It lets the idea breathe, right?
We haven't even gotten to the topic of like any of the skill trees and stuff like that, but that stuff's all pretty standard fare. I mean, like,
yeah,
you know,
it's like the progression. Yeah, I think like, yeah, it reminds me of the sphere grid, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
The way that they lay it out, but yeah, the progression is nice, man. Just like we were saying, none of the other elements are overbearing. Wouldn't you say, you know, how they enable you to, sure, you can equip a piece of armor or weapon, blah, blah, blah. They have these rudimentary ways to symbolize the character's interaction with the world, but it doesn't let those systems get in the way, you know?
Yeah.
Every map you visit, there's a guy you can talk to who lets you rest and upgrade your armor. Usually there's a new weapon you can fucking make there with an item you get from the enemies in that zone, and that's the extent of the... So far as I can tell to this point, right?
Yeah. Equipment, weapons, and then
man,
one
it's natural. It just suits like naturally playing.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll notice, oh, I need to kill one more of this guy to get the, and you'll do it, and then you go to the bed. And there's a couple of guys giving you side quests, enough to make you visit all the interesting parts of that map. You know, there's
I even
all
did
of the landmarks.
some side quests, surprisingly, right?
They make you kill the interesting enemies or visit, you know, a hidden cave or some shit, right? It's good, man. It's well designed, and I really like, again, it's confident in what it's offering you to the point that it doesn't feel like it needs to be overbearing. You know, like, well, try this and this and this and this while you're on the way to that. No, you know? How can I already have done two major... That gives me confidence. Like, I feel good moving through this, you know? I'm not caught up, like, constipated, like sitting there, like, grinding away at fucking map icons, right? Like, there's a sense of momentum. I feel like I could finish it, right?
Definitely, yeah, same, yeah. And it feels like, very, like you said, the momentum of playing it, like it carries out naturally, right? Yeah. As opposed to just map points and bullshit, which is what funny I've been doing like lately in Ghost of Tsushima, right? But this feels so much better to play. It's fucking,
you know, it's incredible. Another thing I think about to myself sometimes is some games I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go play tonight. I'm looking forward to like fucking getting this like systemic task done. This like fucking getting an armor set,
right?
You know, like, or some shit, right? Like. But other games, I'm like thinking, like, you know what? I want to fucking go in and like I'm thinking in the terms of the world, right? Like I want to.
And you're gonna spend like 7 hours.
Right? Like I want to see what happens to X, Y, or Z. Like, and that's how I feel about this one. You know, it doesn't feel like I like playing the game. It feels good, but I don't fucking feel impeded by it. You know?
Yeah.
I feel so often when I don't finish games, bro. That's exactly why. It's because the baggage. Yeah, I noticed that. The baggage of the thing, right? You even if you like the idea, it's just, oh my god, a chore to get through it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's not beautiful anymore. It feels just like, God, I'm not going to do it then, right? But here it feels like, again, I see through the game right away. Just the gameplay just melts away and you're just in the world.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, I feel like it's like the boiling pot of all the best things from like JRPGs just stewed into streamlined like through a fucking, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
That's why it feels so good, right?
Yeah, it definitely does.
A wild game took us by. It completely like shattered the launch of Deathloop for us, because while I was intending on jumping in Deathloop day one, and I did get it and install it on that day, I just haven't played it. There's no desire, right? Because I'd rather finish this, or at least try to. And then get into Deathloop, which is why we're not talking about Deathloop at all today.
That'll be after this is done.
Yeah. That's how good this game is.
We're contrarians. We don't want to be hyping the same thing as the media.
Also that. And really
hype the Japanese entry instead.
Think of that, but
is this made by a Japanese company or no?
Isn't it? No, I don't want to say and sound like an
I feel
idiot.
like it could be somewhere else, Taiwan or Korea.
Survey says...
Developer?
Oh, published by Bandai Namco.
Oh, yeah.
I could have guessed that. But who the fuck developed it? Oh, Bandai Namco.
Oh, nice.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, man, nice. I've enjoyed a bunch of their games so far.
Yeah.
You know, in the past couple of years, from Code Vein to Scarlet to this.
Seriously. They've been
they're in-house games, eh?
Knocking it out of the park lately. Look at this.
Yeah, Scarlet.
New
Tales.
Pokemon Snap.
Wow. Yeah, Code Vein.
Code Vein, God Eater, Ace Combat 7. I never played
was
that.
a good Souls-like, man. One of the best ones. Innovative. It had that buddy system, you know?
I can't believe since Code Vein, which I feel like was obviously recently, but I mean that's already 2 years ago. Holy shit! But and then like Scarlet Nexus came
early this year.
Yeah, early this year. But I felt like, you know, and then right out of nowhere, Tales of Arise. Like, holy crap, right? They must have a bunch of teams, and they're like just knocking it out of the park, man. Look at this. Like, this Tales game is.
It was probably the best received one in a long time too.
Yeah.
I know the media received it well as well. Not just us this time.
Isn't that odd?
Indeed. Yeah, besides that, I haven't played much. I'm right at the end of Wasteland 3. Close to the end.
Yeah.
I hope to finish that as well. RPGs are really doing it for me lately. You know, I was in the middle of that Souls-like, the 2D one, Grime. Mm-hmm. And buddy, it was fucking just... It's an awesome game, but I couldn't play more than 45 minutes, an hour of it. I was just like,
really?
I'm done.
Just too demanding? Like, too much?
Yeah. Just breaks you. I put it down.
We're not too far away from, I mean a little bit, from Elden Ring.
February.
I thought it was January.
I'm not sure.
Or it's probably like late January.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Not quite sure. I'm looking forward to that though.
That'll be fucking interesting as hell.
That'll be another thing, yeah, for sure. One last thing I actually did notice that way. Playing Code Vein and Scarlet in this, like I noticed that, made by the same developer, like they share assets. It's nice to be like, I'm in a world of this developer. I never used to think about that playing a FromSoft game or a Square game, but like probably a lot of it comes from that, eh? Objects in the world look familiar.
It's like a familiar.
They just use rudimentary stuff
yeah.
like that. They don't bother, like, cups or fucking belts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you notice, like,
they share assets, obviously, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They probably have a massive digital farm of assets, right?
I like that, yeah. That's cool. They just share it between teams. They can use it to make their games. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
Super fucking
rudimentary stuff in the world will have a similar look. It feels like, like the stamp of the assets of a certain developer. That's fitting, man. The matter that they contribute to their project should bear some similarity. I like that. I like that vibe that I get, I don't dislike it, especially when they do, like, of course, like unique fucking art for all of the important individuating elements, like the fucking characters, the enemies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Ecosystem stuff, yeah. But anyways, on that note, guys, play Tales. It's really good. We're, of course, not done yet, but we're going to come back at you next week with more thoughts on this game. It's wonderful.
It is, if not so far, Game of the Year, at least RPG of the Year.
Yeah, between that and Returnal, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, Returnal is also up there.
Was there any Souls-like this year that came out?
There has been, but...
What?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. It's probably my Game of the Year, too. This or Returnal. It's very close. Resident Evil 8 was good, too, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you very much. Have a good week. We'll talk to you soon. Love you and take care.